Truth be told, I completely forgot this was the finale of Arknights Rise from Ember. I'm like halfway through the episode and it feels like it's wrapping up this massive arc and I'm going, oh, that's right, this is the finale. I totally forgot it was only 10 episodes. And apparently it's the end to the Prelude to Dawn, because it said at the end of the episode, this episode was called Dawn. So I'm assuming this is like the end of what we started this entire anime series for. This story was the Prelude, which is crazy. And I hope we get more. I hope that they weren't just adapting the Prelude and that we're going to hopefully get more seasons. They haven't announced anything yet. I know that like the second season they announced very quickly. Rise from Ember took them a while to announce it. So hopefully it doesn't take too long. They announced a new season. I know that based on at least like Abema numbers, this show doesn't do well in Japan. So hopefully they're getting viewerships elsewhere. And it seems like they're really passionate about it. They're doing a lot of projects. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully we get more seasons because, as people know, I just absolutely love this show. But anyways, that aside, the finale. Overall, it felt very high-paced. I did not like the pacing of this episode, but I did like the episode. I think overall, I've always felt that Arknights has a pacing issue, that it feels like some scenes just feels like it's trying to rush through a lot of scenes very quickly. And this episode, I think, was probably the worst out of all of them. It's not, like, unwatchable, but it did feel like it was trying to rush through a lot of scenes, give a little bit of context to each character very quickly, not too much context, which is what kind of sucks. But it was still a good episode. I think I really enjoyed the ending to Tala's story. Yes, even though I had lots of predictions they were going to kill her off, thankfully they didn't. I think overall Tala's story was fantastic because it shows somebody that had a lot of good intentions, but was raised by somebody that eventually produced an art within her, overcame her through her own fury and loss of people, and then goes down a really dark path until eventually she's not able to control her own self anymore. And then you have Shin and Amiya finally show up and, you know, snap her out of it. Kick this guy out who it seems to imply that Kashe seen Tala as a daughter. Kick this guy out and let her reclaim herself. But I think what's cool about her story is in the end, even though her memories were so warped and she was so engulfed in hatred and Kashe took over that and took advantage of that, in the end, how they avoid killing her off is my other theory, which is the idea of live on to undo what you've done. And I think so far what they've kind of set up for her could be really that. The idea that right now she's sort of a political pawn. She's literally inside Rhodes Island in this little chamber, sitting there, they point out, not saying a word, you know, keeping to her neutrality, but her being there is able to keep sort of all these political groups at bay. These nations can't come in and just wipe the floor with Rhodes Island because they just messed up their plans. They can't just dive in there because Tala's right there. you can't mess up that. They're acting like they weren't involved. So if they do something to Rhodes Island while Tala's there, it sort of shows something. So I like the fact that they've kind of placed her in that role. And it sort of leaves the door open for the future that, yes, when something bad happens, my assumption is that at some point, I don't think somebody's going to let her out. I literally think she's going to burn a hole out of there and then show up and save the day, and that'll be like a great redemption point for her. But I think it sort of does leave the door open to what she kind of puts it is, I need to stay alive because I have to undo what I can't undo. There is this sort of element of I have all these sins that are unforgivable and I can never undo them, but more so the fact that so many lost their lives in order for me to be here, and I have responsibility for those lives to do something with it. So I'm going to stay right here. And then opposite to that is, from everybody else's perspective, is that she's able to sort of do something proper. And from Chen's perspective, which I really like as well, opens the door to a new promise in the idea that since I can't make Lungmen be a place that you can be judged, since there is no place that you can be properly judged, you gotta have to wait. You're gonna be taken into custody and you just gotta have to sit there until I can make that place that I promised. I promised to make a place where infected, no matter what you were judged equal. A place of true equality. That doesn't exist yet. I'll make it, and then you can be judged. Then you can be judged. You can be judged by what you did and your sins, not who you are, which currently there is no place like that. It was a really cool little statement for her character, and again, a really cool conclusion to her character. And I'm really excited to see, hopefully, what they do in the future with her. I'm assuming it might take a while. But Yeah, overall really cool. Amiya's whole segment in this entire thing was pretty awesome as well. She did a really good job. I I think everything up until now, like all 3 seasons, especially Rise of Ember though. I think Rise of Ember was a really great segment because 2 characters, Amiya and Doctor. I've made jokes in the past of these two. Amiya, Doctor, Amiya, Doctor, Amiya, Doctor. Like, that's literally their characters. I mean, yes, they've done a lot with Amiya's character, don't get me wrong, but especially Doctor's character, he's just there saying Amiya over and over again. They did a lot with Doctor's character in this entire season, but Amiya's character as well. I think what I got from Amiya's character, especially in this whole segment, is that it seems like what I'm getting a feeling of towards the later part, this entire mission was stressful to her. She's seen a lot of people die. I mean, we did a whole roll call at the end of the episode. A lot of people died, and she could easily blame herself for every single one of those deaths. It isn't just the lives that she took with her own hands, like with Skull Shatter and stuff like that, which really did seem to impact her, but it's literally everybody. Everybody involved in the mission is blood on her hands. This is like a weight upon this little cute donkey girl that should never be there. But it's there because she has this goal, because she has what Teresa put into her hands. Please take upon yourself this role. And she took it, and she's going with it. And she has all this power that's within her that she can utilize as a weapon or as a tool to save other people's lives. And it seems like, based on how this all plays out, I love the whole fight sequence where it really kind of shows how she's using the memories that she's seen. She's weeding through all the manipulation that happened. She's able to see sort of what the true memories are and reveal to them, look, you guys, your memories are getting warped. This is what truly happened. No, you're seeing it wrong. It was daytime that day, wasn't it? You're getting twisted up. Keep to what's actually real. Keep to what you really did. Tala, what was your true purpose? What was your true goal? Face that. Stop looking at what he's showing you. You're looking at it wrong. That kind of stuff. This girl seen so much in their lives, and it was probably a lot of painful memories that she had to kind of live through as she's looking at these memories, because you would think memories of a person is going to be first person. I would imagine that a lot of that stuff is stuff that Amiya is seeing herself. She's going through so much, the war, the lives lost, looking through all these painful memories, essentially living through those memories, trying to weed through them all, standing firm on her 2 feet, wielding this weapon that could be used to kill, but using it as a tool to save people. And in the end, finally when it's all over and Doctor comes in and says, "You did good job," she collapses and she cries. Like, this poor girl, this poor little donkey bunny girl, she's just like, it's too much. It's too much. It feels like she completely breaks in the end of it. Good girl. Good girl. It has in the end, I love like how at the very end, despite all that stuff, and I think it's a lot to do with the fact that I think after what happened with Skull Shatter, she sort of had a big awakening. I feel like that whole later part of that season felt like a awakening moment for her, where she finally realizes that this isn't going to happen without some sort of loss. In the end, this is not going to happen without some blood being spilt. But I think, as we see at the very end, it almost feels like Amiya is telling the Doctor the same thing that she realized. In the end, after the whole situation with Misha and Skull Shatter, she came to that realization that, you know, sometimes some sacrifices will happen. She doesn't want it to happen, obviously. It's not as a, oops, it's going to happen. It's more of an idea that she has to keep moving forward. She can't just stop. Cry later, basically. We'll have to wait to shed tears later. But she comes up there to the Doctor and literally says, "Yeah, I'm okay. I cried a lot, though." It's okay. I can admit that. I cried. I can cry in front of people. It's fine. It's going to happen. But as the Doctor is sort of in the same position that Amiya was back there with Skull Shatter and Misha, Doctor's back there saying, "Yes, I'm sorry. Despite all the scars, all I can do is send people to the battlefield. As a tactician, all I do is send people out in the battlefield. It seems heartless." He doesn't like that. "I thought my lost memories would have value and that knowing myself could help you. I thought that I could bring some sort of tool to you, but if I knew more about myself, I thought that I can unlock something that would just fix things. I can't. It's not working. But every time I touch upon how cruel these lands can be, I can't help but picture myself." It seems to imply there that he sees that he's at fault for a lot is what is happening there. I'm not sure exactly what he's saying there. It almost feels like he's implying that a lot of what is happening in these lands is my fault. I've lost those memories, but I was sort of a part of something back there that has led to a lot of this problems that are happening now. And again, getting to my theory, the idea of him literally being like at this origin point of the current civilization kind of feeds it as well. My Utaramano theory is going on there. In all the strategies that come to mind, most of our victories are soaked in blood. Again, despite the fact that it seems like I want to keep people from dying, no matter what, all my strategies that come to my mind, every tactics that comes to play, I have to choose one of them when the battlefield's coming up. As something is happening, as people are fighting, I have to figure out how to, situate the battlefield, and every route leads to somebody dying. It leads to some blood. Whether it's the enemies or it's ours or something. And I know Amiya wants to save everybody, but it seems like no matter what, results equals somebody dies. Somebody on the enemy side, somebody on our side, and most of the time I'm going to choose our side lives. Again, he's going through the same thing that Amiya did. Amiya had the same feeling of, I want to save everybody, but people keep dying. And Amiya says right here, because she's had that experience, she's able to tell the doctor, what she figured out. It's okay. It's okay. Stop. It's okay. Whenever I'm about to hurt someone with my own hands, my heart creaks. You could call it weakness, but I'm sure that as long as I never let go of this feeling, everything will be fine. It proves to her that she's not a weapon. Again, back to the conversation that we've seen briefly at the very beginning of this episode that Kal'tsit and Amiya had. That idea of the weapon, just like with Rose Montis. We're all seen as weapons, but what proves that we're not weapons? That we have a mind. That we know that it hurts when somebody is hurt. That kind of thing. The pain is what tells us that we're not weapons. It almost feels like Amiya is telling Doctor what she figured out. That's what helps us get through that darkness. She's telling Doctor, look, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're feeling. This is how I got through it. This is how I figured out how to do it. It's cool. Again, Amiya's growth in this season was spectacular. And yes, a lot of that is like awesome because she got the new form. She became this king and is able to wreck things with this awesome blade. Apparently, because she looked through Shen's memory, she literally did a Matrix download, apparently, of Shen's fighting tactics. What? She could do that? Okay. We're doing the whole, Amiya is the Matrix downloader. She literally looks into people's memories and apparently gets all their fighting skills. She's literally the most OP character in a game. Too bad she was never that OP in my game. She was never that OP in my game. Again, really cool stuff they did with Amiya's character. Doctor, on the other hand, yes, like I said, I feel like this season did very well to build up his character. I really wasn't expecting too much of him. He's always sort of been... I've always had a feeling he's going to be the silent protagonist character of a mobile game, and then every now and then we reveal something secret about him. And yes, in a lot of cases for these mobile games, there's always this deep, dark backstory that eventually you'll get into, that they'll tease every now and then. But as I said before, I feel like this season... I got sick of it. Truth be told, I got absolutely sick of Doctor's backstory stuff because it's like, just show us what happened. Stop talking about this whole Teresa thing and how he killed everybody and Teresa. Just show it already. But I think what's cool is, again, at the very end of the season, sort of having that show that he's suffering. This whole thing is suffering. Again, like I just got into it a minute here ago, is the idea of what he brought to Amiya, that he feels like every path leads to death. There is an element here where he doesn't want to be his past self. He's seeing signs of his past self. He doesn't want to be that self. So hopefully we'll get into more of it. And again, hopefully we'll stop kind of teasing that crap. Rose Montis in this episode was great. I love Rose Montis in this episode. I mean, overall this season, I love Rose Montis' character. Again, another aspect of somebody being a tool. Somebody that has to relive pain and loss every time they remember a person's name, which really, really sucks. But just kind of seeing her with all the dudes from Patriot Squad, just like they're all cheering and chucking her up. Good job, Feline. And then just like them having mad respect for her. It's like a brothers in arms thing. Like, because she was fighting at their sides that entire time, because they've seen how powerful she is and skilled she is, and what she's doing, and how people like look up to her and how people trust her. She earned their honor. Like, these dudes literally respect her so much. Again, to the whole thing with Patriot, because he called her feline and not by her rank in soldier, he acknowledged that she's a person. He acknowledged that she is a feline race, not soldier, not captain, not a rank, basically. And yeah, right here, kind of seeing all the guys just having mad respect for her. And in the end, despite the fact that they were all there to kill Tala, they came to that location and probably lost more men fighting like crazy, fighting the Ursus, fighting the reunion, all for the sake of getting to Tala. And at this moment, she says, no, we're taking Tala into our custody. It seems like a massive betrayal. We all came here together to kill her. We were going to have rights to kill her. No, we're taking her custody. But they respect her. Well, okay, as long as you're a part of Rhodes Island, we will allow it. She said, it's only temporary. We won't give her to anybody else but you. Okay, I trust you. Because you feline, I trust you. She gave mad respect from those dudes. They're like, yes, ma'am, we'll allow it. And if they face any trouble, they'll aid them. They're even going to ally themselves with Rhodes Island as long as Rose Montis is a part of Rhodes Island. So, Amiya, don't ever fire Rose Montis. And you'll always have these dudes at your back. It was super cool. I love it. The whole pinky promise thing with Rose Montis. It was super cute. And then later on, her saying how it was warm. Her sitting with Blaze. Blaze is acting like a mama over there. She's like, our girl has grown so much. She's like, I've learned how to like... Basically, through this whole experience, Rose Montis has learned her own way of gauging people. She learned that she can trust people. She learned there's people outside of Rhodes Island that she can trust that are good people. And it kind of opened the door for her more, broadened her world quite a bit. Hopefully she can retain a lot of those memories, because again, that's a whole fear of her forgetting people. She learned to trust people, and it was cute. And again, Blaze just crying and hugging her. Has to get dragged off by, I think it was Greythroat, had to drag her off. It was super cute. Blaze was so happy that her girl came back and that she's grown up so much. She's such a big grown up girl. Ace, everybody, she's so grown up. It was cute. It was cute. What else? Kal'tsit. Again, we had that whole conversation with Kal'tsit with Amiya. This season, again, was very great for Kal'tsit. I loved her character this season. Getting a little bit more into the whole investigation that was happening in the past, her involvement with that, underground location, that generator of power, all that stuff, the betrayal, all that stuff. Her interaction with the W this season was really fantastic as well. But yeah, in this finale, having that little moment where it feels like she kind of had to give a bit. She gave up to Amiya with the whole situation with the rings. Acknowledging that she's grown, that she can make her own decisions, having this little moment with Doctor, apparently Doctor wanting to add Frost Nova to the list of fallen comrades, and her eventually giving up in that, him having to put onto her that no, she chose to join us, I want to respect her and all that kind of stuff, and eventually Kal'tsit getting to the point of talking about Amiya's squad specifically, and listing Frost Nova, having that little moment where Doctor looks up like, okay, she had the name. It was sweet. But yeah, that does technically confirm that she's dead. I had a theory that she possibly was still alive in the little chamber. I would assume that they have to burn their bodies or possibly just keep them contained within a vacuum or something like that. And I thought that possibly that she woke up because at some point it seemed like it indicated that she woke up to communicate to them. But apparently their listener is dead, so I don't know. She could still be alive. They just think that she's dead. We got a little more insight into the Rat Grandpa and Wei. Apparently, my predictions around that was incorrect. I thought that they were fighting over, like, how to run Lungman, but apparently it was literally Rat Grandpa was telling Wei, these girls will do this right this time. What it implied is that as they go to the graveyard, as Wei and Shen go to the graveyard of her parents, or, well, technically, her mother and Tala's father, as they're in front of this grave, they mention the fact that Edward, which would be the father, apparently, in the past, Edward fought Cache alongside us. But Cache exposed his status as an exiled noble, and it sparked a fire. So for my sister and her unborn child, I killed him. I don't know if that's implying what I think it's implying. I'm curious, because they did show Cache himself physically standing there as Tala was taken away. So I'm assuming that it's the actual physical Cache that raised Tala was there on that battlefield. But it almost for a minute there made me believe that possibly this Black Snake, which they're implying now is literally named Cache. I wasn't sure if the current iteration of the Black Snake was in the body of a person named Cache or the other way. It does seem like the Black Snake is named Cache. I thought they were possibly implying here that Cache literally possessed Edward and it forced Wei to have to kill him. And thus that's why he was so afraid of Shin and Tala's situation, because he felt that they were going to have the same mistake happen. But literally they're pointing out, no, because Shin, thankfully, because of Amiya being present, was able to overcome that. It wasn't technically just Shin herself that pulled off something that he wasn't able to. It was because she opened her heart to Amiya and gained allies that she was able to pull something off that Wei couldn't. And here it seems like, again, Rat Grandpa believed that she could do that. Believed that she could overcome that, whereas Wei didn't. And that's why Wei wanted to stop him. So, interesting to get a little bit more clarification there, but I like the fact at some point they point out that the Rat King called off the cloaked ones. Oh, it just seems like they all had a human heart in there somewhere, so they decided to let the infected go. It was cute. It was cute. But yeah, Shin's little wrap up there was pretty cool. I think Shin, Wei, and the Rat Grandpa's whole kind of conclusion that was fine. Seeing Lin for a very brief moment again. We need more of the Mouse Girl. Seeing my poor Swire, Best Girl Swire, still upset the fact that Shin just walked off and left a letter behind. Peace out. You could take over the squad. Poor Swire. What else in this episode? I feel like I've been jumping all over the place, but this is kind of working out well. It was a good finale. A lot of conclusions to characters. Seeing a lot of the members of the reunion kind of breaking off on their own. Guard apparently is going to stay away from Rhodes Island for now. W is going to start her own group. Got to see that W at some point kind of recalling the memories of Teresa and trying to gain the trust of Amiya. I mean, that's a reality there. It's like Amiya can trust her because she knows Teresa too. She loved Teresa too. You can trust me. Oh yeah, we got to see Amiya apparently is getting them to manufacture the little like spicy candies that apparently Frost Nova had. Okay, it was so random. Get to see Jessica very briefly. Cute little Jessica, little timid little Jessica. I used to love playing with Jessica on the game. Apparently she's gonna do some new training. Oh yeah, I almost forgot the biggest massive tease they dropped in this finale. Katsuta injecting some of Doctor's blood into Amiya in order to help her. They couldn't leave us without one more massive, like, what the heck moment. Like, let's just drop a little bit of an intrigue in here right at the finale. But yes, Amiya collapses. This notification comes up that says that subject's oropathy symptoms rapidly deteriorating. And again, Katsuta says, don't ask any questions, show me your arm. Nobody reveal anything that you're about to see. Take some of Doctor's blood, injects it into Amiya, and then suddenly she stabilizes. What? Yeah. I mean, this goes back to like the whole theory around the origins of the Doctor, the fact that he's like some sort of like fossil from like the origins of this current humanity and whatnot. Again, my crazy Utawaremono theories of Doctor being from the past way back there, that they created the current races that are currently present and the civilizations itself collapsed. And now that he's in this future point now here, he's looking to save something. And it could go into the idea that, again, that Amiya is some sort of reincarnation of a loved one that he had from the past, and possibly his blood can somehow stabilize her and help her. That she's going to be a different being from everybody else. How that's tied in the whole King of Sarkos thing is the big massive question mark. But kind of, again, getting back to that origin point, yeah, my assumption here is that the Doctor is going to be some sort of cure for the oropathy. So this gets into, of course, what they talked about, I think, very early on, that apparently the Doctor was the key in order to find a cure. That I think they were claiming that the Doctor was looking for a cure, and they need to go down and find him and bring him up because he had this research that they were trying to get into his memories for to find a cure for the oropathy. And again, that could go with the idea that it wasn't necessarily that they wanted him for the cure, they wanted him for his tactics in this battle. But yes, they of course want a cure for the sickness. He could have been actually looking into it. So his injection helping her with her oropathy, the obvious assumption here is that his blood is the key to cure it. And so this is a sign here of, oh yeah, by the way, we're still looking at that plot line. Hey, everybody, if you forgot, this story is about them trying to cure the infected, and that, the Rhodes Island is basically a mobile, medical facility to treat the infected. Now, my curious question here is, they haven't obviously found out a way to fully utilize it, otherwise they'd be curing everybody. So are they currently researching it? Has Katsuta been looking into how to use the Doctor's blood to cure this up until now? Or have they just been too busy with having to fight, with Lungmen and Reunion and Ursus and all this kind of crap? Are they still currently researching it? Or are they kind of at a standstill for now? Is this going to open the door for them to actually look into that again? It's, again, throw this in here right at the ending. I want so many answers here. But again, it was kind of an assumption there that he was going to be some sort of key for that. And again, it's kind of laying into the idea that it feels like he's just not really fitting in with this world of different types of races and whatnot. That he's going to be some ancient civilization bloodline that could simply come down to, back when the Doctor was around from the origin stories, they weren't infected by the oropathy. It's really these new races that have sprung up since that past civilization that are being infected by it. So bringing somebody from the past, this old fossil in, of course they're going to be immune to it. So how can they help? I think that's pretty much it. Again, very solid conclusion to everything. Everything kind of wrapping up. It seems like, again, this entire 3 seasons have been nothing but a single mission, and that mission seems to have finally come to conclusion. Very curious to see what kind of goes from here. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the finale of Arknights Rise from Ember. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as always. I really appreciate you guys' support. Everybody that dropped by weekly for the video, all the fans of Arknights that know the story through and through, that probably were being driven nuts by everything that I was predicting wrong or saying wrong or whatever. I always love the support from the Arknights game fans. But anyways, really appreciate you guys' support. But until next time, until the season comes back, until next video, I'll take care.